Well, millions of high school football players dream about hearing their name called at the NFL draft, but only less than 1% of high school seniors are eventually drafted by an NFL team. But here in Southern California, there's one family that is preparing for their second NFL draft. They seem to have a plethora of riches in the family.
Yes, they do.
They're the exception, not the rule.
It's very inspiring. And our Kristen Lago joins us this morning from USC to tell us about this amazing, dynamic family. Good morning to you.
With all crazy great names, too.
Incredible names. And yes, destined for draft day is not a phrase I use lightly, but it's perhaps the perfect phrase to describe the likes of an athlete like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's one of this NFL draft class's most interesting prospects, not only because of what he does on field. Yes, he was the Pac-12's leader in receptions and receiving touchdowns, but he's also a trilingual athlete who has been lifting weights since he was 7 years old. And by the way, he's also named after an Egyptian god. So destined for draft day, destined for greatness. I guess it's all in the St. Brown's DNA. To wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, football is as second nature to him as breathing.
Once I get out there in the game and when I'm out there on the field, the thinking part goes away. I just go out there, have fun, and try to make plays.
The playmaking, the work ethic, the determination, coming together in such a way, you could almost say it was dreamt up in a science lab.
When we were in the weight room at school, at Modern Day High School, I was lifting as much as a lineman, sometimes even more. So, all the things that I did, speaking different languages, getting good grades, being strong in the weight room, good on the football field, a lot of my students just thought, I was built in the lab.
Because Amon-Ra, like his older brothers Osiris and Equanimous, are as unique as their names. And competition, well, it was ingrained into everything they did.
You name it, whether it's playing video games, playing against each other in Monopoly, Uno, racing outside, playing pickup basketball. In the weight room, we were definitely all competing and always trying to be first, so it definitely brought the best out of us.
When it comes to athletics, the three brothers took after their father John, a former Mr. World and two-time Mr. Universe, who to this day is never far behind them.
If you train to be a pilot, you end up being a pilot. If you train to be a scientist, you end up being a scientist. So they were trained to be athletes, but also be intellectual. So you are what you train to be.
Amon-Ra said it's that balance of athletics and academics that makes him truly unique.
Not being late, making sure I'm doing my assignments at school, I think really translates to the field.
Because to the St. Browns, the journey has always been clear. First at Modern Day, then at USC, and now to the NFL draft.
Once I got to high school, I knew I wanted to be in the NFL one day, and that was my dream.
A dream he's been working to all his life. And a dream built out of competing with his brothers. Although there's no clear answer as to who's the best.
Amon-Ra is like good rap music. Equanimity is like good soul music. And Osiris is like good jazz. All good genres, it just depends on what you like.
That is, unless you ask Amon-Ra. As the youngest, he believes the best, it was saved for last.
I'm obviously gonna say me. I believe I'm the best. I always believed I was the best since I was a kid. So I think if you ask those two, they'll say they're the best, but it's kind of how we are. We're competitive.
An innate drive, a passion for success, and altogether a man built for the NFL. I know in this piece I talked a lot about John Brown's influence, and rightly so, on his son's life in terms of their athletic development, but their mom also had a huge influence on their academic side. She encouraged her sons. They only speak to her in German at home. Each of them took their SATs in both German and English, and they all went on to prestigious universities like Notre Dame, Stanford, and USC. So altogether, I would say they're doing something right.
Oh, I would say so. They're the full package. Well, we wish him the best of luck. How exciting. So, in terms of the draft picks for the Rams and the Chargers, what can we expect from them this weekend?
Let's start off with the Rams, because Rams fans, unfortunately, you will not have a first-round draft pick once again this year. The Rams actually haven't had a first-round draft pick since 2016 when they picked up the first pick of the NFL draft with Jared Goff. They'll be waiting till 2024. So Chargers fans, get excited. You can actually expect a flashy pick this evening. But for the Rams, they will be picking in Hollywood style. They rented out a huge Malibu draft house, poolside, looking over the ocean view in true Hollywood fashion, because when you have a stadium like SoFi, you got to have a Rams draft house, right? So fans for the Rams will be looking at the second and third round picks. They'll likely pick up an offensive lineman, so not as flashy of a pick, but definitely necessary when you're a Rams fan. They got to protect their new quarterback in Matthew Stafford, so still some exciting picks, and anytime you get to develop your organization, it's a good time for fans and a lot to look forward to for both teams.
Yeah, I should say, I just got a lot more interested in football with that Malibu beach house, Kristen. That's a way to like.
Oh, is that what it takes? Is that what it takes for you?
Thank you so much, Mel.
Thank you, G.